Hey guys, Matt from Newbquest.com, back with another dev blog. My second. This one is going to be a bit shorter, and I'm not showing any gameplay. I'm just showing a little bit of process stuff. What I've got here is a little flow chart mind map thing that I created to talk about next tasks and how I'm thinking about the structure of the game. And then I've also got a little bit of music that I created that's kind of some concept music that I'm thinking may go into the game. Maybe we'll start with that first because it's a little more fun. I'll just play it for you. This is super rough. It's probably like a half hour worth of work into this. There's a little flavor of that, and imagine yourself as a butterfly flying around shooting missiles while listening to that. I have some ideas for some cool sort of stuff to put into the music system that will relate to that, which I think I'll talk about in another blog, but I just thought I'd share that with you. My goal is to try to do these every day, or at least every time that I have a work session on the project, just kind of as a way to keep this going. So today what I did was I plotted out what is coming next and kind of what I want in the system. So the two next things that I'm trying to build are the resource system, which is going to manage the player health, the enemy health. The reason I have this kind of as a dependency is because I think I could probably reuse the system that I create for player health for the enemies, which is what I did for the homing missiles. I created it first for the player and then modified it a little for the enemies, and so far that works okay. Some kind of energy resource, managing how many missiles you can shoot and how many other kind of powers you can use, sort of like mana in an RPG game, or it could be a finite number of like ammunition. It's probably actually a better way to name that when I think about it. I haven't decided how that's going to work. And then some GUI elements to display and give feedback about the current state of that. I think this is probably my next task, which is why it's up at the top of the chart. Interaction mechanics I need. I've got this. This is the next thing I want to do to be able to have people either click on enemies to target them or to use the number keys to select from a range of targets. This will take a little more programming, so it's probably not going to happen right away. Shooting missiles I've got. Enemy shooting missiles I've got. It needs work, but the next thing I want to do is to add some resources for the player to collect. So I want them to be like some little food items that they have to go around and get while avoiding the enemies. And that will probably be the kind of main tension of the game, that you want to collect these resources, which means you have to go close to the enemies, which means you have to fight, right? So it's not really about killing enemies. It's actually about collecting resources, and the enemies are making that difficult. I want to have the enemies respond to the resources and try to collect them too, so you're kind of competing with the enemies for resources. And this is part of my idea about trying to make it like a realistic environment where you kind of feel like you're in this ecosystem, and the enemies sort of have goals and you have goals and you're in competition. And I want it to kind of feel like a jungle with different animals trying to compete against each other, and you're one of them. I'm thinking about having a blocking mechanism, like a shield to block enemy missiles that you have to trigger. Not sure if that'll happen. And then maybe, since I've got it, that should also be a dependency off the player doing that. And then some weapon systems, being able to choose between different weapon types. Right now I've got the thing to be able to fire multiple missiles at once, and then maybe some kind of like orbiting ring weapon. That's more of a visual idea, but that's kind of what I've got at the minute. And then the other categories I have here, which we can expand to get more stuff about what's in them, which I won't go into now, but the music system, which I've talked a little bit about already, the game world, which really is more about, that probably could be refined a little bit because it's less clear. the AI of the enemies. I want to have them have kind of cool behaviors, so they react to each other, they react to the player, they react to the resources. Art, which is fairly self-explanatory. This API world concept I'll get into later. Ideally, I'd like to be able to access the game world from a variety of client software. This is super ambitious, I know. This should go at the bottom, much more late stage. Feelings. The feelings I want the player to have in interacting with this. This is simple. It should be harsh and high stakes. Permadeath of crafted units. I have a crafting system I want to get into later. But this is kind of the overall feel. This is kind of inspired by games like Counter-Strike, where death has a high consequence, or games like Dota, where, again, it's if the match starts to go badly, it really sucks, but in a way that kind of raises the stakes and makes it more fun. I want to have some kind of RPG-type elements between trips to the world. There should be another sort of series of screens that you do things in, like crafting. Multiplayer, it's kind of a stretch goal, but, you know, I would love to get there much later. Honestly, yeah. I mean, that's probably a higher priority than API world, but and these aren't strictly in priority order, but I'm trying to get there. And so I'm using this free software called Xmind. I really like this for doing these types of flowcharts. For me, it really helps me to organize my thoughts. You might enjoy doing the same. Yeah, that's what I've gotten done today. I had a long day of work, and so I wasn't able to do as much as I would like, and my brain is a little fried, and I actually have more work to do, but I figured I should get something done on the project today. My goal is to try to get something done at least every weekday, every work day, if not weekends as well. We'll see how that goes, but just try to keep the momentum up, and, you know, feeling good so far. Got one person to watch my other video, which was gratifying. So if you watch one of these videos, do leave me a comment. That would be great. All right. Thanks for watching.